Breaking news. At 0418 UTC this morning, observatories on 3 continents simultaneously confirmed something that until today existed only as a statistical anomaly buried deep inside noise. New high-resolution images of the interstellar object known as 3I Atlas reveal a persistent, unmistakable directional structure, one that should not exist. Moments ago, calibrated data streams from the James Webb Space Telescope, the Atacama Large Millimeter Array in Chile, and ESA's ground-based optical network aligned perfectly. Today, the impossible just happened. An object traveling through interstellar space is not behaving randomly. It is oriented, it is consistent, and it is precise. This changes everything we thought we knew. If you want real-time updates on the most important cosmic mystery of our lifetime, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because what we are about to show you is still unfolding. For the past several months, the global astronomy community has watched 3I Atlas with growing unease. This is not because interstellar objects are unheard of. We have seen them before. But this one refuses to behave like any natural visitor we have ever recorded. Today's confirmation forces us to confront a far more unsettling question. Not what 3I Atlas is made of, but why it appears to be doing the same thing again and again, regardless of where we observe it from. The data now comes from NASA, ESA, and independent research groups at Harvard, Caltech, and the European Southern Observatory. Images were captured using JWST's near-infrared camera from its L2 orbit, Hubble's Wide Field Camera 3 from low Earth orbit, and radio interferometry from the Atacama Array high in the Chilean desert. Additional optical confirmation came from observatories in South Africa and Western Australia, coordinated through the European Space Network. 3 continents, 7 instruments, different wavelengths, same result. Each system, operating independently, resolved a faint but distinct asymmetry in the object structure, an elongated axis aligned to the same inertial direction in space. This is not a trick of perspective. This is not motion blur. This is not instrumental bias. Before today, skeptics argued that earlier images were artifacts or transient outgassing events. That argument is no longer viable. To understand why this matters, we need to rewind. 48 hours before today's confirmation, 3I Atlas was still considered unusual but explainable. It was traveling at approximately 32.4 kilometers per second relative to the Sun on a hyperbolic trajectory that suggested an origin beyond our solar system. Spectral analysis indicated a surface temperature fluctuating between 210 and 240 Kelvin as it approached perihelion at a distance of 1.7 astronomical units. Nothing there violated known physics. Then, 11 hours later, something subtle appeared in the data. JWST registered a persistent infrared gradient along the object's length. Not a tail, not a coma, a directional thermal asymmetry that did not correspond to solar heating. The warmer region remained fixed relative to deep space, not the Sun. 6 hours after that, Hubble confirmed a matching optical elongation. The object was not rotating as expected. Its light curve showed minimal variation, implying either extremely slow rotation or active stabilization. That alone raised eyebrows. 2 hours later, ALMA detected a weak but coherent radio emission in the 86 to 92 gigahertz band. The signal was faint, just above background, but it repeated at regular 11.3-second intervals. No known natural interstellar object produces pulsed emission at that frequency without accompanying plasma activity. There was none. At that moment, the internal status of the observation changed. Within NASA, the data pipeline was flagged for priority review. At ESA, an encrypted message circulated between planetary defense analysts and astrophysics leads. At Caltech, a simulation team was pulled off unrelated work and asked to run emergency gravitational and thermodynamic models. What those models showed was deeply troubling. When simulated as a natural body, Cometary, asteroidal, or fragmentary, 3I Atlas should display chaotic orientation changes. Outgassing jets should shift direction. Solar radiation pressure should induce torque. None of that was observed. Instead, the object maintained a stable axis within 0.03 degrees over a 72-hour window. No known law of physics predicts that behavior for an inert, tumbling mass. Dr. Elaine Korsakov, a computational astrophysicist working with ESA, described the moment succinctly. "We assumed randomness. The object refused to comply." At Harvard, Dr. Marcus Len ran independent Monte Carlo simulations using conservative assumptions. Even under extreme material strength and low volatility scenarios, the probability of maintaining such alignment was less than 1 in 10 billion. That number alone does not prove intent, but it demands explanation. The mainstream hypothesis emerged quickly. Some researchers argue that 3I Atlas may be an unusually shaped object, perhaps a thin, elongated shard of interstellar debris with extreme rigidity. In this view, the directional structure could be a passive result of its geometry interacting with anisotropic radiation pressure. Similar arguments were made years ago for earlier interstellar visitors. But this explanation struggles with one critical fact. The direction does not align with the dominant force vectors, not the Sun, not the galactic plane, not the object's velocity vector. It points somewhere else entirely. Then came the second wave of anomalies. 21 hours after the initial confirmation, one of the smaller fragments, previously thought to be a transient brightness fluctuation, vanished. Not faded, vanished. Simultaneously across optical, infrared, and radio bands. No debris, no energy spike, no detectable acceleration. It simply ceased to exist within our detection thresholds.
At the same time, Earth-orbiting satellites recorded brief magnetic perturbations on the order of 2 to 5 nanoteslas, localized but synchronous with the disappearance event. Ground-based radio observatories reported momentary signal degradation in high-frequency bands. Birds in parts of northern Europe altered migratory flight paths for several hours. Each effect, on its own, was explainable. Together, they formed a pattern that no one was comfortable naming. Inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, one engineer reportedly said, "This was no longer random, it was responding." That sentence never appeared in any official report. As debates intensified, two camps solidified. The first insists on restraint. They argue that we are witnessing a rare but natural phenomenon, an interstellar object with properties at the extreme edge of physical possibility. Unknown physics does not automatically imply technology. History, they remind us, is full of mysteries that later found mundane explanations. The second camp is more cautious with its language, but no less serious. They point to the precision, the repetition, the directional consistency. They do not say machine, they say non-random, they say controlled. Simulations now suggest that if the structure is intentional, the energy required to maintain it is minimal, on the order of tens of watts. Trivial for technology, impossible for geology. Last night, new images arrived. Captured by JWST during a scheduled deep field observation, they were not supposed to focus on 3I Atlas at all, but there it was, drifting into the frame. When analysts enhanced the contrast, they saw it clearly, the same axis, the same orientation, identical to images taken days earlier from a completely different vantage point. Same direction, same structure. At that moment, several agencies quietly updated their internal classification of the object. Not public, not formal, but real. Control rooms fell silent. Encrypted communications increased, not panicked, measured. Governments were informed, not because of immediate danger, but because of implication. The idea that something from outside our solar system could exhibit persistent directional behavior forces a reevaluation of assumptions humanity has held for centuries. After the chaos came the pause. I remember staring at the data feed, watching that faint, stubborn line in the darkness, and realizing how small our expectations have been. We assume nature is loud when it is powerful, violent, explosive. But what if intelligence is quiet? What if it passes through without announcing itself? Maybe we are not witnessing the end of something. Maybe we are witnessing the beginning of a question. As of now, 3I Atlas continues on its trajectory. It has not changed course. It has not accelerated toward Earth. It has done nothing overtly threatening. And yet, it has done something far more unsettling. It has behaved consistently. The next observation window opens in 12 hours. New instruments are being retasked. Higher resolution, broader spectra, deeper analysis. Because if the direction holds again, if that structure remains fixed, then we will have to ask a question humanity has never had to answer with real data. What happens when something out there is not just passing through, but choosing how it moves? Subscribe to stay with us for the next update. This story isn't over.